What's up, Drop Services? Dylan Sigley here. In this video, we're going to jump into how I'm able to make $10,000 per month from one business, working 0 hours per week on that business. We're going to break down the steps that I was able to go through to first scale this business up in terms of sales, but also how I'm able to automate that business with people and software so that I can just spend the winter freezing to death in Vienna here. Let's go. Have you ever felt like building a real online business that drives consistent results, freedom, and control? Online business can feel uncertain, confusing, and overwhelming, but what if you had the vision, mindset, and actions to get from A to B and building your online business step by step so you can live a life of freedom, consistency, and control? Also, hidden within this video is a free email template that you can use and copy and paste into your campaigns that I've used to drive hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue across our businesses. It's hidden within 1 second throughout one part of this video, so make sure you watch all the way through to the end. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I'll see you in the next one. So when I very first started my business, the whole goal was to have complete freedom, meaning being able to travel the world without having to work and just making a few $1,000s per week. But then obviously as you build your business and go through the process year after year, eventually you start wanting to build it even more and grow it bigger and bigger. So your goals get bigger and bigger. And that's really what happened to me. As you go through the process of building your online business, you're going to be in the system yourself, creating everything, right? You're not going to automate everything and have people and software do things from the beginning, because first you need to design everything so that it works and be sure that it works so you can move forward to the next stage. Once you've figured out that the system is working that you've built, then you can employ the people and software to do those tasks for you and allow you that next level of automation as you go forward. But on top of that, what ends up happening is a lot of people decide that they're the best person for the job when it comes to every single piece of their system, and they end up doing everything in their business, which really is a trap, and it's something that can be caused by just an ego of believing that you're the best person out there to do it. But in reality, there's people and software that can do the task pretty easily as well. So when you first start your business, you want to automate everything from the very beginning, because the whole goal when you first get started is freedom, right? But the issue is that if you automate too quickly, you're not going to be sure that the systems that you created were set up in the right way. They might not work, and if you scale something that's not working, you're just going to scale the issues that it has. So that's why in the beginning we always want to make sure we create the system ourselves and test that system to make sure it's working, and then automate it with the people and software to take ourselves out of the system. And that's how we automate, one step at a time. So the first issue would be automating too quickly and scaling up a broken system. But the second issue is typically we don't automate fast enough because we feel like we have the most power over the system. We're so good at the system, no one else could possibly do as good as us, that we never decide to automate a lot of it. And some of that just comes down to ego, believing you're the best, but a lot of it is fear that other people might make mistakes, and most likely they will make mistakes, but mistakes are fine. Everyone makes mistakes, and you can always improve the system over time. If someone isn't good, you can just take them out of the system and get someone new. But you always want to be moving forward with the automation and scaling in your business. And if you do things correctly by slowly adding in people and software as you test systems and you know they're right, you're going to be able to get sales coming in whilst you're chilling out on the beach, or in this sale example here on the screen now, came in while I was partying on the 31st December for New Year's Eve. So that's the type of thing that happens when you automate in the right way, but just make sure you're following that advice when it comes to not automating too quickly or too slowly, and you'll be heading in the right direction. Once you get to the point that you're making that freedom income, whatever you decide it is, to live that lifestyle you're after, then you can go about the process of automation. So how do we actually do that? Well, once we know that the system is working and we've been doing that system ourselves, implementing it ourselves, we can then go about the process of documenting everything, literally with documents like Google Docs and videos, to train others to do the work for us. And this is usually for tasks that can be completed through the simple training. Obviously, the more higher level things that you should be doing as the visionary, as the entrepreneur, you're going to keep handling. But anything that you're doing day to day that can be automated, that literally someone can just jump on a computer, watch a video and learn how to do, you're going to automate, so that you can take that time and use that time to invest it back in your business or do whatever you want with it, right? So what we're going to do is create documents to list the step-by-step process they need to go through to carry out these tasks. Then you're going to do screen recordings using something such as Loom to record yourself going about the process step by step, and then you're going to put all of this information together in a document and provide it with this trainee. And obviously you find these virtual assistants or salespeople or delivery team, whatever it may be, for whatever task that you're automating on all of the freelancer networks such as Fiverr.com, Freelance.com, etc. So that's how you go about the process of automation. And once you find someone that you think is good enough, you give them that task and you just test them out, see if they can carry out the tasks well. If you decide they can't, then let them go and move on to the next person. But just don't get stuck in the whole thing of perfectionism and needing someone to be perfect before you allow them to do the task, because really most of the tasks that you do on a day-to-day basis are simple and anyone can do it. So that's a step-by-step process to go through to automate anything in your business. And what you need to do from there is just make sure, first of all, you are at the level where you have your freedom income set and you're making the same amount of money month after month, and you know that your system is working. Only once you know it's working, then you can automate it. But before you actually get to the point where you can fully automate everything, you need to get to your freedom income level, right? And what does freedom income mean? It means getting to the point where you're earning enough to live the life you want to, doing what you want, when you want, with who you want, etc. So that number's going to be different for everyone, but let's say it's $10,000 per month, right? Okay, so what do you need to do to get to $10,000 per month? Well, with drop servicing, our goal is just to get those first few clients that we need to reach that number. And that can be done very easily depending on how you structure your offer, but you can easily get to the point where you're bringing in a client for $2,500 per month, right? Let's say that's the goal for whatever reason. So if we need to get to that level, it's 4 clients. $2,500 times 4 is $10,000. So that would be our freedom income number. So what are the steps we need to do to get to that freedom income number, so then we can actually have the system fully built out, we know that it's working, we know that it's bringing in the amount of income we want, so then we can begin to automate it as we already know that it's working. So what you're going to need to do is build a system with, first of all, a delivery team, the team that delivers the service. You're going to need a project manager to manage the delivery of that service, and then perhaps lead generation and a sales team, right? That's pretty much everything you need to have all of the people in place to have a fully built out business. And to get to the point where you're bringing in $10,000 per month with 4 clients paying you $2,500 each month, you're going to need to do some sort of marketing channel for that. So let's say it's cold email. Let's say we're sending out emails trying to bring on those 4 clients. So all we need to do is run a cold email campaign and get it to the point where we've got those 4 clients to be making that $10,000 per month. And how many will we need to reach out? That really just depends on the open rates that you get, the responses you get to your offer, and the leads that you generate, the calls that you generate. But it's pretty obvious, right? You can simply look at the percentages that you're getting, how many leads you're bringing in, how many calls you're bringing in, and then you're going to be able to adjust whatever point of the marketing funnel isn't working best. And then once you've tested everything, you've tried a few different versions of different things, whether that be your cold email, the offer itself, the landing page, the call, whatever it may be, the lead source. Once you've tested all those things and figured out what works, then you're going to get to the point where you have those first 4 clients, and you only need the marketing system to work to the point that you get those first 4 clients, and then you could turn it off if you wanted to, as long as those clients were staying with you, right, sticking with you over the long term. And then you can always keep it running at a smaller level, but it's just once you get to that point that you have those 4 clients, then you can focus on automating things, but you need to get to that freedom income number first. So cold email is a really great way of doing that, and you can get that cold email system set up pretty quickly. I've talked about it in multiple videos now, but literally it's just getting LinkedIn set up, searching for email addresses on LinkedIn, using something like Woodpecker to send the emails, bringing in the leads, then follow-up systems such as emailing them, posting on social media, adding them on social media, reaching out with a phone call, and obviously sales calls as well, so you can close the initial deal. But that's the only system you need to get started, to get your first 4 clients paying you $10,000 a month, and then then we can go on to the next step of automating everything step by step. Let's get into that part. So once you get to the point where you're ready to go through the process of setting up your marketing and then automating that, you need to know how to go through the step-by-step process. So I'm going to use an example of this sale here to take you through the process of how we would go through automating every single piece of the system and then scaling that system up once we're ready. So what you're going to need to do first of all, obviously, is have a lead generation set up. And lead generation can be done in many ways. You can have paid advertising, free methods, but in this example, let's use cold email like we always do. So the first thing you're going to do is get the lead generation set up where you're going out into LinkedIn, for example, gathering email addresses for decision makers at companies, putting those email addresses into a system to send out your offer. Then once you're sending that offer out, you're going to get responses, which you obviously need to reply to and put into your sales system. So each piece of that part of the system is going to need to be documented and put onto screen recordings, going through the process yourself, and then automating and getting another person and software to do that for you. Now, once you've got that piece automated, you're going to need to go into the sales process, right? You're going to need to have someone emailing and calling and doing the sales calls themselves, calling and setting appointments so that you can get those sales closed, because the lead generation system is going to generate people that are interested in your service, but the sales system is going to close those into clients. Now, once you've documented and automated that part of the system with people and software, you're going to need the delivery side done. So there's two parts of the delivery, right? You're going to have the team that's actually delivering the service, and then you're going to have the person that's managing that delivery, the project manager. So you're going to need to automate with a project manager and find a delivery team on Fiverr, people per hour, freelancer, etc., and then put that part of the system together, automate that, have those people doing it for you. But those are all the steps of the process. That's every piece of the system you need in terms of the marketing and the automation of the delivery. But of course, you need to get to the point where you're ready to automate first. And to do that, you're going to need to do it yourself and figure out the system, make sure it's working, design that system yourself, and then find the people to automate it. But you need to go through that process and those steps so that first of all, you don't get stuck in doing everything yourself, becoming a glorified freelancer, and then also that you don't automate too quickly without fully building the systems and making sure the system is working before you scale it up. But once you have an automated system, you're going to be able to scale up with more marketing channels and grow and grow and grow from there. So now that you understand the theory around it, the step-by-step process that we went through to get this sale on screen here was essentially a pretty simple process with cold email, and you can use this template on screen right now to do the same thing with your own cold email campaign. So the first step is to go onto LinkedIn, like I said, look up CEOs of whatever niche you decide on, gather those email addresses, put them into Woodpecker, start sending this template that I've just given you, and then what's going to happen is you'll start getting a few replies. From there, you're going to need to respond to those replies, of course, put them through a sales process in terms of email follow-up and calling them and providing them with general value around what you've got to offer. And then, of course, you're going to get them on a sales call with you so you can close the deal, send through a proposal, use PayPal or Stripe to close it properly. Then from there, what we do in our animated video business, it will be different obviously depending on the style of drop servicing business, is we send through a questionnaire, and this questionnaire gathers all of the information we need to begin the production process. We go through scripting, storyboarding, voiceover and animation with review periods each stage for the client, and you're going to need to either do this yourself or have your project manager manage the communication between the client and the production team, sending files and feedback so changes can be made. Then finally, once that project is complete, the video file is sent through, and that's literally the entire process from start to finish. So that's how I'm able to travel so much and live a life of freedom, basically working 0 hours per week on my business, and yeah, making $10,000 a month for a while now with this. And of course, I have both these two drop servicing businesses, but also an education business where I teach drop servicing called the Drop Servicing Blueprint. So if you'd like to learn more about how to do drop servicing, check out the link in the description, sign up for the free 2-hour training we've put together. Literally shows you how I do everything step by step so you can go out and build a drop servicing business. And yeah, look forward to seeing you on the training. Talk soon.